Join me as I dive into the fascinating world of the Ottoman Empire and challenge myself to uncover the most astonishing discoveries about its transformation. The transformation of the Ottoman Empire is one of the most pivotal moments in world history, shaping the course of politics, culture, and society for centuries to come. And yet, it's an era that's often overlooked, misunderstood, or reduced to a few token dates and events. But I'm here to tell you that there's so much more to this story, and it's time we give it the attention it deserves. The Ottoman Empire faced a plethora of challenges during its transformation, from internal power struggles to external pressures from rival nations. The once mighty empire was torn apart by infighting, corruption, and mismanagement, leaving it vulnerable to the whims of European powers. At the same time, the empire was struggling to modernize, to adapt to the changing times and technologies that were sweeping across the globe. It was a complex web of problems, with no easy solutions in sight. As the empire stumbled from one crisis to the next, its leaders were forced to make difficult choices, often with far-reaching consequences. They experimented with new forms of government, new economic systems, and new military strategies, all in an effort to stem the tide of decline. But every step forward was met with resistance, every reform was contested, and every decision was fraught with uncertainty. Despite these challenges, the Ottoman Empire refused to give up. It continued to evolve, to adapt, and to transform itself, even as it faced the very real threat of collapse. And it's this resilience, this determination to survive and thrive, that makes the Ottoman Empire's transformation so fascinating. Moving on, let's delve into the key events and figures that played a role in the empire's transformation. We have the Tanzimat reforms, a series of sweeping changes aimed at modernizing the empire's institutions and laws. We have the Ottoman-Russian War, a devastating conflict that exposed the empire's military weaknesses. And we have figures like Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, who would later become the founder of modern Turkey, but who began his career as a young officer in the Ottoman army. The Tanzimat reforms, introduced in the mid-19th century, were a bold attempt to drag the empire into the modern era. They tackled everything from education to taxation, from the role of women to the organization of the military. It was a top-to-bottom overhaul of the empire's institutions, and it had far-reaching consequences for the people of the Ottoman Empire. But the reforms were not without their critics. Many saw them as a threat to traditional Ottoman values, as an attempt to impose Western ideas on an Islamic society. Others saw them as too little, too late, and that the empire was beyond saving. The debate raged on for years, with both sides passionately arguing their case. Meanwhile, the Ottoman-Russian War, fought from 1877 to 1878, was a disaster for the empire. The Russian army proved to be a more modern, more efficient, and more ruthless foe than the Ottomans had anticipated. The war exposed the empire's military weaknesses, and it led to the loss of territory, the loss of prestige, and the loss of confidence. Ataturk, meanwhile, was a young officer who saw the war up close and personal. He was shocked by the empire's military failures, and he became convinced that the only way forward was to create a new, modern, and secular state. He would later go on to lead the Turkish War of Independence, and he would found the modern Republic of Turkey. One pivotal moment that encapsulates the essence of the Ottoman Empire's transformation is the Young Turk Revolution of 1908. This was a moment of high drama, of intrigue, of politics, and of violence. It was a moment when the old guard, the old elites, were swept aside, and a new generation of Turks took the reins. The Young Turk Revolution was sparked by a group of army officers, dissatisfied with the rule of Sultan Abdülhamid II. They were angry about the empire's decline, about its corruption, and about its lack of modernization. They were a group of young, educated, and ambitious men, who saw the need for radical change. The revolution was marked by violence, by assassinations, and by coups. It was a dangerous, tumultuous time, but it was also a time of great hope and idealism. The Young Turks believed that they could create a better future, a more modern future, and a more just society. They believed that they could transform the Ottoman Empire, and that they could bring it into the modern era. The revolution was eventually successful, and the Sultan was forced to restore the constitution and to give more power to the parliament. It was a major victory for the Young Turks, and it marked a turning point in the empire's transformation. In conclusion, the Ottoman Empire's transformation is a fascinating, complex, and multifaceted story. It's a story of politics, of culture, of society, and of war. It's a story that teaches us about the importance of resilience, of adaptability, and of idealism. And it's a story that reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a better future. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to learn more about historical transformations, be sure to check out our video on the rise and fall of ancient civilizations.